Hello, today we're going to learn Amazon Elastic Cloud Computing or EC2. Let's see. So this is the front page that you see after you log into your Amazon Web Service account. From here, you can access any of the services that are available in AWS. For example, so we can start with EC2. So let's open EC2. After this, so there are various options in EC2. So we're going to click instances. Currently, I don't have any instances running in my current account. So from here, I can go and click launch instances. And I got various choices here, but I'm going to choose only free tier access. So in that we have Amazon Linux AMI, Red Hat, SUSE, Ubuntu 20.04, Ubuntu 18.04. I'm going to choose Ubuntu 20.04, 64-bit x86. After that, here I can choose an instance type. So there are various types of instance type: T2, T3, T4, C4, C5, and these are depending on various CPUs and memory. Since we got a free tier access for 1 year, so we're going to choose T2 micro and click configure instance details. From here we can configure our instance. Currently I'm going to choose one instance. If you want, you can choose 2 or 22. So I'm going to choose one instance and it will be built accordingly. So I'm going to keep all the defaults as it is. Network, subnet. So these are all the availability zones for US East. So there are 6 AZs or availability zone. So you can choose whatever availability zone that you want, or you can just leave it default. Then you can also give a public IP subnet enable. So I'll just keep it enable, and I can choose IAM role. So let's just try to connect EC2 and see. So later on we can come here and check various options. Along with the instance, we also need a storage. So by default, it is giving 8 GB SSD storage at /dow SDA1, and that is the root volume. If you want, you can add one more volume as EBS. So we'll check what is an EBS in the subsequent video. So 8 GB is sufficient, and if you want, you can also encrypt. Let's just leave it unencrypted now. Then I can also add a tag. A tag consists of a case sensitive key value pair. Like for example, I can just add a key as name and value as AWS test, and security group. So here security group is nothing but firewall. So you need to give access to your ports and other types. Since I'm going to connect to this using SSH, so SSH, and 22 port is by default SSH. Custom, I can give access to this instance anywhere on the internet by giving anywhere, or I can choose my IP and it will take my IP, and this instance will be available only using my IP, not anywhere from the internet. So let me check only for my IP currently, And you can also add rules depending on what type of ports that you would like to open. Like for example, I want this HTTP and this needs to be open to the whole of internet, and I can add HTTPS. Okay, the default is 443 and it's also anywhere else. Now also I can use a custom port of let's imagine 8086, and I can use anywhere. Okay, then I click that button. Alright, is open to the wall. Let's go back and let's delete this previous, so we can review the instance launch. So we have Ubuntu server, so you need to check it is free tier, otherwise it will be built for you. It has got SSD volume, and this is the ID, and I'm using a T2 micro, 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, and only EBS 8 GB. And the security groups, I have allowed SSH and 22 port for my IP, HTTP and HTTPS, and the details of the instance are available. You can double check them. And storage, we have 8 GB RAM, SSD, and we're given a tag AWS test. And after this, you can click launch, and your AWS EC2 will be ready. Before that, so you need to create a key pair. For that, you can either use an existing one or click new key pair, and let's give a name to this key pair, AWS-test, and we need to download this key pair. You have to download the private key, that is, this is a .pem file, before you continue, and you need to store it in a secret location, and you will not be able to download it again, so you can only download it once. So let me download this to my desktop. Download key pair, save, and it is on my desktop. So name is AWS-test, and after this I just need to click launch instance, and my instance is going to be initialized. So it might take a few minutes for the instance to be initialized. Let's wait for a few minutes. So in the meanwhile, you can check the status of your instance by clicking this ID. So it will take you to EC2 management console, where your first AWS-test instance is getting ready. So the instance is just running on a T2 micro, and it is just initializing. So we'll have to wait till it gets initialized. Okay, so our T2 instance is ready. It is running, and the status check has said that it is ready for use now. So you can get some details here. So our availability zone is US East, and this is the public IP DNS, and we have launch time at 1816 hours. From here we can click instance ID and check the summary. So this is the instance ID. The IP, public IP, is this one, so we can open this one as well once you install any of the web services or your programs. And we also have a public IPv4 DNS. So if you shut down this machine, your IP might change, but your public DNS will be constant. even after you shut down. So let's go back to instances, and I'll show you what are the options available. So we can check AWS test instance, and from here we have various choices of doing with this instance. So we can stop the instance, we can reboot the instance and terminate the instance. So if you just stop the instance, you're going to just shut it down, but the instance will be still built. But if you terminate, so it is going to delete the AWS instance along with the 8 GB hard disk that you have selected for this. And there are various other options available here. So you can connect to this from clicking this button. So let's just click connect, and there are various ways of connecting your instance. So there is EC2 Instant Connect using the IP, and the default username is Ubuntu, and you can use a session manager, and you can use a SSH client. So for this example, I'm going to use SSH client. Let's see how to connect using SSH client. So for that, I'm going to open my terminal. Okay, let's go to the terminal and go to my desktop and check for aws-test.pem, which is the key that we downloaded. So we need that to log in. Okay, so this is the instance, and it says open the SSH client and locate your private key. In this example, we're going to look at the AWS test properties. So we need to change the properties from RWR to read only. For that we're going to type 400 and AWS test pem, and I'm going to check the properties again. So now it's only read only. So now I can use SSH command. Let me clear this one. Now I can use SSH -i and the name of my key and the name of the username that we got from here, which is the default user, and we need to copy our public DNS. Let's copy the public DNS, then go to our terminal and put the username @ and paste the DNS after this. So just click enter, and it is going to ask you, are you sure you want to connect for this one with this fingerprint hash? Then click yes, and now you have officially entered into your EC2 instance using a SSH. So you can see various options here. So it's a Ubuntu 2.04. It has 8 GB space and 1 GB RAM, and this is the IPv address, and from here you can do whatever you want with your instance. Alright, so let's check sudo apt update. Here again, sudo apt upgrade. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes. And our instance is updated and also upgraded. Okay, so we are using a user which was created by default as Ubuntu, and this is our user, and the ID is Ubuntu, and it has got our access, group access Ubuntu, and sudo access audio and other stuff. So before you do anything, so let's get into a root and disable the root access. So for that we just type sudo -i, and we have entered into the root, and yeah, so you can see we are root, and we need to disable the root access. So for that we type before that, let's put a password to the root. So we can write past wd and the root access and the root user, and we give a strong root password now. So retype the password. The password is now successfully updated. So now we need to disable the root access. So for that we type password -l, which means lock root. So now the password, the root is locked. If you want, you can come back and change the root access. Let's create few users. Add user AWS-demo. So that will be our username, and it is going to ask for password. Give a strong password. Repeat the password. If you want, you can give name, room number, work phone, home phone, others. Confirm all the information is correct, and you have created a user. So similarly, now we need to add the user to the sudoers group. For that we are going to use user mod -a g and sudo and the name of the user, that is AWS demo. So now we have added our AWS demo to the sudoers account. So now let's log into our AWS demo and check whether the sudo is opening. So let's say sudo AWS -demo. Oh, sorry, it's su AWS -demo. Okay, now we have entered AWS demo account. So let's clear the screen and check who's the user. Is AWS demo, and the ID is AWS demo with the groups AWS demo, and it has got a sudo access. Okay, that's how you log into your EC2 instance using SSH. Have a good day. Bye.